Hi, my name's Alan Rowoth, and I am the guy from the BigOrangeTarp.org, and I have a blog about things technical, and I also do showcases for musicians in campgrounds at music festivals and also at conferences and other events. I'm here to talk to you today about video because I think that video has never been more important than it is today. It's a very useful tool in a lot of ways. I'm beating the drum about live streaming, which I think is kind of the future, part of the future, a key part of the future. But a lot of the stuff I'm going to talk about today also will pertain to those of you who just want to make demo recordings at home of your songs, so you can either put them on YouTube or play them for your friends or whatever. Now, I will tell you, I think that we've been doing it wrong for the last few years. And if you look at, say, Concert Window or a lot of other techs, they tell you to go buy a webcam for your laptop and hook it up and get some kind of a microphone, a USB microphone, and put that into it. But the problem is that most of the people I know have very old computers. They may have a computer that's 4, 6, 8, even 10 years old. And these just are not good. And then you take a 2 megapixel or 1 megapixel or half a megapixel webcam and put it on it, and it looks like crap. It doesn't sound that good either. But although you probably have an old computer, you probably have a really new phone, because almost everyone does. These phones are incredible. They're more powerful in many cases than the computer that's sitting on your desk. And they also tend to have really good cameras. This particular phone has a 12 megapixel camera in it. The nicest webcam I could find in a web search earlier today is a 2 megapixel camera. So there's a big difference in the quality that you can get. Also, a lot of the services are made to wed directly to your smartphone or iOS device. So, assuming that you want to try to shoot with one of these, the first thing you have to do is figure out how to hold it still. And it's especially hard if you've got a guitar and you're trying to sit and play, and you prop it up and it slides down and it doesn't work. I'm on a service called Live Me a lot, and I'm constantly seeing people's phones fall over and flip over, and we're looking at the ceiling and their toes. But there's a lot of inexpensive ways to mount your phone. Probably the cheapest is about a $5 easel stand. And it's great, you know, it just holds your phone. Now, if you want to be a little more sophisticated, you can get something like this. This will actually stick to, I got it for the Amtrak, so I could live cast from the Amtrak, but it'll stick to anything like that. And then you stick your phone in there. You can aim it any way you want to, and it's very sturdy. Well, if it holds properly. It works a little better on glass than it does on wood. This is a kind of a nice unit. You can put any kind of a phone clip on it and then clip it to a stand like one of these. Tightens up, and you can put anything on here you want to and move it around. It's got a little gadget like this on it. And there's a couple. This one is designed for microphones, and I use this when I'm going to tape to hang a microphone off a stand that's got some other stuff attached to it. And here's a slightly nicer, this is about $8. Here's a slightly nicer version that costs about $20, but you can change the attitude of the microphone adapter, or I'm sure you could put a quarter 20 thread in here if you wanted to do. And this will go on tubular things, or you can loosen this, flip this around, and it'll mount to a tabletop. So these are very handy device. You find the 2 threads that most often get used in this kind of work are the quarter 20 thread for your cameras and the 5/8" thread for a microphone. Here's an adapter, about $5, that takes a 5/8" thread like this one and turns it into a quarter 20. And you can get adapters that do the reverse as well. today I think I'm going to be using this. And this is two things. It's a little tripod. It's very sturdy. It's got a gimbal mount here in the top so you can control all the aspects of the attitude of it. And then this is adjustable. And I'm going to put my little iPad mini in here. This is a handle so I can wave it around and one-handed, but the handle doesn't like to be in here. So then when I want to mount the iPad, I loosen this up, stick it in, tighten this down, and you can aim it however you want to. Now I mentioned the phone. Probably all of you have a smartphone. Most of you have a smartphone. And most of those phones these days are iPhones. But you could use an Android phone if you had one. You also, if you're doing dedicated streaming, I bought this even though I already had a phone. Lots of times I will also use a microphone stand and actually mount the tablet on a stand. Here's another mounting. This is kind of a nice unit. This has got these two things with corners. It'll grab even very large tablets. You can hang this off the mic stand to shoot with it. So this, essentially here you're ready to stream or to record. But the thing that most people don't pay attention to is lighting. And the better your lighting, the better your videos look, especially with these smartphone cameras. Now you could just use a light up here like we are. That's just your basic, you know, dining room light. It's a pretty nice light. It looks pretty good. Now if you want to get a little more sophisticated with lighting, beyond using your room lighting, you might look at this. This is a TP-Link smart bulb. And I forget what I paid for it. I think it was about $15. But it's smart. So there's got a phone app, or it'll run on your iPad. You can turn it on and off. You can control the intensity of the bulb. But probably the most interesting thing about the bulb is you can control what's called the color temperature. And the color temperature is typically indicated in degrees. I think it's degrees Kelvin, which is how they measure the light from the sun. In this particular setting, up here at the top, the bluest, whitest light is a daylight setting to seem like what you get to on a normal day. And then you can take it down in various steps to different colors, and you eventually start to get down into what typically in your house they would call it tungsten. Oh, okay. They would tungsten is like your the old-fashioned light bulbs that nobody buys anymore, the ones you can't get at the store. But tungsten generally gives a nicer looking light than the compact fluorescent bulbs. And these LED bulbs can come in a variety of color temperatures, and most of them have a fixed color temperature, often down around what they call cool white, which is a very kind of yellowish, it's a really warm thing, or then the daylight. Now, if you're using this to augment your lighting outdoors, say you're outdoors and you've got a real harsh shadow and you want to fill in the shadow, you might want to use the daylight because it more closely matches the lighting that you'll run into. But as you see, these things, it's just, and for me, I'm not a fashion plate and I don't worry too much about the color of my skin. But if I was doing makeup tutorials, or you know, one of you beautiful girls out there who wants to look your absolute best, you might pick an intensity and a color that looks really good on you. This is a real cheap way to improve the way you look on film and on video. The most important thing with these phone cameras is you have to have enough light. If you don't have enough light, you're not going to look good. There's other types of lighting. I mean, we might show you a picture later of a big scoop light, you know, with it you'd use for professional video shoots, and you can buy them fairly inexpensively. Some people, especially the makeup girls, feature a ring light, and it's a ring that may be 2 or 3 feet in diameter. You actually mount your phone or your camera right in the middle of it, and there's lighting, there's no shadows, so you don't see the crevices and stuff in your face, the pores in your nose. It's pretty interesting stuff. There's a lot of information out there about lighting, and I may ultimately do another blog post about it, but I just wanted you to know that this is one inexpensive option for lighting. I'm going to close this video, and I'm going to do 3 more short videos about what I think the most important thing is for musicians, and that is sound. Because it's music. My friend Stace Carter says that the sound is half the story. And if you don't sound good, your songs are not going to be delivered with impact. And this is the main problem people have when working with their phone.